Welcome to Open Whispers channel. Kindly remember to subscribe, click on the bell sign, share the video, and leave your comments in the comment section. It's only when this channel becomes interactive that we can get to the desired destination. But if you are looking for a channel that says the truth, depends on you, wherever you are. Give us your thoughts on the going on around the world, especially Africa and Nigeria. We will always air your views. Those hidden truths, that is what the channel tends to reveal, to be on the people's side all the time. We promised you when we started this channel that we will always tell you the truth. We will always expect those hidden secrets, those secret whispers. We'll make them open. That is why the channel is called Open Whispers. My name is Chris Digos. Share the video and join us as we still explore on this journey called life. Sometimes there may be setback in life, but learn never to give up. Regardless of how back these elites push you. Always remember that the oppressor will never succeed without the mindset of the oppressed. Whenever the uninitiated throw sand at the masquerade, you know that that masquerade has overstayed in the arena. I believe that these political juggernauts, these elites in Africa, in Nigeria, that they have held the masses to ransom for so long, but the masses have to liberate themselves. Stop collecting these peanuts from them. You are selling your future. Well, whenever the secret whispers of a people turn to open whispers, the tyrant knows that his time is up. The whispers in Nigeria is getting louder and louder and louder. And I believe that the tyrants, sooner than later, will know that their time is up. The youth have to take the proper place where they belong. Stop selling your future. You are also guilty of selling your futures. You have to say no, so that these elites will know that they can't rig elections without you. They can't carry ballot boxes without you. They can't influence the election without you. We have to learn how to hold these elites accountable. We have to hold these office holders accountable. And this is why today, as the governor-elect of Anambra State, Professor Charles SOLUDO, a renowned professor of economics, as he is sworn in tomorrow, and he is ready to take over the mantle of leadership of Anambra State. We want to take a brief look of how Anambra State was before, just briefly, and how it got to where it is today. We will not join a lot of people who are with the bandwagon of saying all good things the outgoing governor has done. He could have done very well, he could have done poorly in some sections, but that remains for history. It is too late for him to make any changes by now. He had 8 years to have a meaningful impact on the people's lives, the economy, and write his name on the sands of time to be remembered or not to be remembered, either as a hero or a villain. Once again, please subscribe, hit the like button, and share the video. Welcome to Open Whispers once again. Well, Professor Charles SOLUDO, this night, this time, will be the hero that murdered the ODA. Through him, hopes are rising in Anambra State. Through him, the people's future will either be made or be marred. At the end of his 4 years in office, we will sit back and evaluate what he has done. People are very optimistic, but it has to be cautious optimism. Because when you remember the governor of one of the South states in Nigeria, who is a professor, Professor Ben Ayade, who is very eloquent. But if you check the track record from the whispers of what he has done in his state, you'll be asking questions. Has he been able to transform the eloquency into work? Has he been able to transform the rhetorics to positive effect on the people's lives? Time will tell. Will he be in the right side of history or in the wrong side? Time will tell. This is why, as we push to watch Professor Charles Soludo take over the mantle of leadership of Anambra State tomorrow, you cannot be held hostage by the past. You can't also think you are going into the future by praise-singing about the past. No. Professor Charles Soludo, from the whispers, is taking over Anambra State that is depth-ridden, that has a lot of challenges. Let us go back a little bit. During the time of Mbadinuju, the Owa, if I remember his title, who was then the governor, that was characterized with shambolic reign, diabolic reign, because he was held down by what is called godfatherism. For those of you that don't understand what it means, godfatherism in Nigerian context, in African politics, means that a well-to-do or a wealthy individual finances your election and connects you to the power that be. You come into office, but you must have sold your conscience or your birthright or the people's future to him and his purse. Whatever comes to the state as a revenue has to be divided. More than half goes to the individual who has helped you to win that election. It means the people's life will be held hostage. The economic progress of the state will be at the person's disposal. Nothing will be done. No civil servant will be paid. In fact, developmental projects in the state will be halted. It will be at standstill. It will be at the beck and call of this wealthy individual that financed your election. You are accountable to that individual. This was the shambolic characteristics of Mbadinuju's reign in Anambra State. Workers were owed. Developmental projects were at standstill. Nothing moved in Anambra State because the godfathers that put him in place demanded for a pound of flesh. And he was not bold enough to leverage himself, the people's future, from that single individual. This was why immediately Chris Ngige, who is now the Minister for Labor and Productivity in Nigeria, when he was sworn in as a governor of Anambra State then, he revolted against the Obas, against the godfathers. And that revolt, though it cost him his seat as a governor, but Anambra State saw massive liberation, development, workers were paid. People didn't know that such revenue could come to the state internally or through the federal allocation. Because you know, in Nigeria, every month they go to Abuja, that is the federal capital of the nation, and share revenue accrued to the federal port to different states. Each state gets their own money, but most of the governors don't use it to the benefit of the people. So during the reign of Ngige, as if he knew, as if he was a prophet that saw tomorrow, as if he saw he would be removed from office, He constructed roads. He paid workers and did a lot of developmental projects to the astonishment of ordinary Anambrarian who never knew that such a thing could happen. He was in office for 3 years before he was removed, but the state was liberated. So today you may not be wrong to say that Chris Ngige could be called the godfather of modern democracy in Anambra State, because he rebelled against the godfathers or godfatherism in Anambra State. And from then till now, Anambra State has not been the same. It has been on forward movement. When Obi took over in 2006, the progress continued. The wheel of progress continued to roll. Obi handed over schools to missionaries, to churches, and Anambra State became one of the best centers as far as education is concerned, producing brilliant children that did well in external exams. Obi changed the perception in a lot of sectors around the world, or especially in Nigeria, that public schools are not good, that public schools are meant for the poor. It was through him that it became possible for public schools to compete favorably with private schools. Public schools now became a center for the rich and for the poor. Obi bridged that gap. And by the time he was able to leave office, he followed the path of his predecessor, Chris Ngige, constructed roads, developed Anambra State economically. It was also said that by the time he left office, he saved more than 74 billion naira for the state. So, when Governor Obiano took over from Obi, people expected that he would follow the route that Chris Ngige took, the route that Obi took, but a lot of analysts said that Governor Obiano fell below expectation, or below the standard that Obi left behind. The question everybody will ask is this: was the shoes that Obi left behind for Obiano, was it too big? Did Anambra people take a risk or a gamble in trusting a man who came from the banking sector, whom prudence would have been his watchword? A lot of people are saying that despite the fanfare, despite the noise being made about the successes he recorded in the state, he fell below expectation. He fell below the standard Obi left for him. And let us briefly go into that. As of December last year, 2021, the debt profile of Anambra State rose from 2.5 billion, according to DMO, to 54.6 billion naira. The external debt rose from 45 million US dollars to 108 million US dollars as of December of 2020. I don't know about today, as he is leaving office, what the debt profile of the state has been. Remember that Obi left, from what he has been saying and from the records, he left more than 75 billion for the state. So how come the state has moved from a state that has money or has a lot in the savings to a debt-ridden state? Time will tell. So when we are talking about road construction in Anambra State, don't get me wrong, from the whispers we are getting, few roads were constructed. Also give him credit that flyovers were constructed, because Nigeria, we are fond of joining the bandwagon of celebrating mediocrity. When people pay their taxes, when people do what they are supposed to be doing, building a road shouldn't be celebrated. Paying worker salaries should not be celebrated, because these are some of the things that as a reasonable and responsible government, you owe that as a duty to pay worker salary, to provide basic amenities. But because of the level of mediocrity that the nation has fallen back on, when governors pay workers now is celebrated. When governors construct roads, they are celebrated. When they provide water to the citizens, they are celebrated. But in modern climes, such things are the duty of the government. The role of the government is not to do everything for the citizens. The role of a responsible government is to provide a conducive environment for the citizens to be safe, go about their businesses without being harassed, without being killed. Security. Do governors or government provide that in Nigeria? The answer is no. So, even some of those flyovers that Obiano constructed in Anambra State, some of them have been found to be structurally defective. So in my opinion, as people roll out their drums to clap for Apoku Odike, the governor of Anambra State, in my opinion, and from the records, that he built an international airport, and I said in the past that because of that we can say that his sins are forgiven. But the question still remains, how much of the state's money was invested in the construction of that international cargo airport? Shall we say that how much that has been quoted, that has gone in from the state coffin for that project is actually, does it reflect the reality of how much work that has been done for that project? Because I learned that there's a red flag from the economic, that EFCC, the crime agency in Nigeria, that has placed Willy Obiano on the watch list, saying that there has been a lot of flaws under Obiano. Because it was still under Obiano that we had, through some papers, that his lieutenants, some of them have bought houses in America from the grapevine, and nothing has been done about it. So the EFCC, are they wrong or right in placing this man on their watch list? It means all is not well from this banker turned politician. Time will tell us how far EFCC will go in unraveling the true financial state of Anambra State. Remember that one of the hallmarks of Nigerian politicians is nothing but stealing, stealing, and stealing, and stealing. They steal our lives out of us, that the future generation that they are trying to protect, the unborn generation, have been stolen out of context. So, I think all is not well in these 8 years that Obiano has been in charge of Anambra State. These are the hidden things from open whispers that we cannot just neglect. Hope rises as Soludo takes office tomorrow. But the question remains, Soludo has promised to create more than 520,000 jobs within 4 years. He has also promised to raise more than 4,000 youth millionaires in Anambra State. To us, they sound nice in the ears. And as an erudite professor of economics, everybody is hopeful. The only people that seem not to be happy are the desperate politicians that have been working with Obiano these 8 years. They seem to be the only people who are not happy, because they know that with Soludo in charge, it probably will not be business as usual. Because I don't think, having the pedigree that he has, that anybody will come to be a godfather to this professor, or that anybody will try to control him. He has started well by creating portal for people to apply to be part of his government. Talent hunt has started. But I just wish and hope it will not end up like the man of Cross River, who has sacrificed the people's welfare to his ambition to become the president of Nigeria. As we march into a new era of Professor Charles Soludo in charge of Anambra State, people are hopeful that, one, you will not succumb to the caprices of godfathers in Anambra State. Anambra cannot afford to go back to Egypt. What about the party ABGA? You will agree with me that ABGA, after 20 years of existence, has failed to live up to expectations of the Igbos of Nigeria. That ABGA is only able to control one state. And even that one state, you cannot boast of being in charge despite 21-21 victory by Obiano or your own recent victory. Most of the federal houses are being controlled by opposition parties. That leaves a lot to be desired about the future of ABGA as a political party. Soludo, you have promised to make ABGA one of the best parties in Nigeria. I hope you succeed in it. For you to do that, you have to make sure that ABGA changes from being a party for the highest bidder when they want to run an election. Change from that mindset to becoming a party where grassroots politicians, people that mean well for that party, people that don't just come into the party to use the party as a vehicle to run an election, that those people are swept aside, where people who mean well for that party, people who will steady the ship of ABGA, will be brought on board. So far, in my opinion, and from the grapevine, Willy Obiano failed to take ABGA to that next level. He was not really interested in developing ABGA from what we are gathering. And this was why he left ABGA for political jobbers to be in charge. He left ABGA for people who sacrificed the future of the party, the direction of the people of Anambra State, who have invested their lives, their trust on ABGA as a party of the people, as a party that will take them to the promised land. Not because they want ABGA to be a regional party, but they believe, like the old Rangers International as a football club, carried the future of Igbo people, brought them together immediately after a devastating civil war, when Chekwas Okori formed ABGA. People came on board, hoping that ABGA would give them the yearnings of giving them a sense of direction, of bringing the Igbos together to have a bargaining power in the political interest of a country called Nigeria. So far, it has failed. As we look up to you, Professor Charles Soludo, to keep your word on taking ABGA to the next level, to provide industrialization to Anambra State and to the Igbos, to connect Anambra and the entire Southeast to the center. Obiano has done well in relating well to that center. I hope you continue on that path. You don't have to be opposition of the mind to antagonize everything the federal government is doing because you just want to be heard. I want you to be a governor of wake up and see. Talk less and do more. All hopes are on you. Remember, Mbadinuju came before you. His name will not be remembered. Ngige is a hero of democracy in Anambra State. Obi is another hero of democracy in Anambra State. It is too early for us to pass a verdict on Obiano, who at length has tried to name the Anambra International Cargo Airport in his name. To me, that's a no-no. Allow people to celebrate you. Allow history to celebrate you. Whoever must have advised you to do that is on the wrong side of history. Professor Charles Soludo, all hopes are on you. Take the seat of government. Take that seat. You are now, from tomorrow, the hand that mothered the old year, according to Isabai Robi's Mwoked. We shall dance again, but then in a wider circle. This is Chris Diggles in Open Whispers. Beware, do good work, and please keep in touch. Thank you.